Well, welcome to this week's edition of Bolton In. All thanks to Palmerbet, of course, and what a wonderful few weeks it has been in the horse racing caper. And I say a very good afternoon, morning, evening, whatever it is, to Shane Anderson all the way from Copenhagen. Shane, how are you, buddy?
Matty, good to be with you again. What a weekend we had last weekend, of course. Such great racing. The Cox Plate seeing Animo stand tallest and really be crowned as the champion racehorse in Australia. But it was just a brilliant day of racing across the board.
Yeah, absolutely, Shane. I couldn't agree more. And Animo, an absolute superstar of the sport. Adam McGrath all the way from LA. Adsy, how are you, buddy?
I'm going well. Haven't we had everything this carnival? We've had dead heats, photo finishes, and now we've had a transfer of a Group 1 to a Saturday as well. And wasn't Bella Nipotina super impressive? Obviously, Coolangatta came out. We didn't get to see that match race, but gee whiz, it would have taken a good horse to beat her on that day with that type of a run.
Now, Shane and Ad, I want to talk to you about the theatre of Manikato Stakes Friday night, Moonee Valley, the thunder, the lightning. It was all happening. The horses got out into the track. A big crash and a big boom of thunder and lightning hit the track. They went back in again. Then the drama of obviously making an 11th race the next day. It just had everything, didn't it, that Moonee Valley Carnival weekend, Shane?
Yeah, it certainly did. Look, all credit to Racing Victoria and the team around them to get that race rescheduled, even though it was pushed onto the Cox Plate Day, which some of us would prefer to see it happen on a regular basis. I think the Manikato on Cox Plate Day would be a fantastic opportunity. That aside, great to see the race saved. Disappointing that we lost a couple of the big guns, but what can you do? It's a weather situation. There's been a fair bit of chatter around whether or not they should have gone ahead with the meeting or perhaps pulled the pin a little bit earlier. That to the side, they did everything they could on the night to keep the fans that were there on the track and those tuning in to watch the coverage engaged and be a part of it all and try and save the meeting as best as they could. But terrific win, as Adam, you mentioned, Bella Nipotina. I mean, she's powered away to win a Manikato by the best part of 5 lengths. I never thought she had that in her, but she just might be one of those remarkable horses that gets better with time and with racing.
Yeah, she certainly seems that way, doesn't she, Matty? As I said, I talked about it going into that race too, that bridesmaid tag that she'd had for so long. I think we said at the track it was 7 starts, 1 win and 5 seconds. And she's starting to turn that around. You almost have to forget those seconds now and know that she can win these races. But as Shane said there, I think it's scary to think that she's definitely getting better. And I'd love to see her head across to Perth for the Group 1 winner bottom. The way that she rails, she's like a little greyhound out there. I think if she could stalk the lead out west and just get away from that fence at Ascot, should be very hard to beat.
Yeah, especially generally favours on paces too over there, that carnival, that time as well. So, yeah, I'm sure that the connections will certainly be weighing that up. And 1.5 million in prize money too for the winner bottom this year, which is just enormous. What about the Cox Plate, boys? Seriously, it was just an epic race, wasn't it? It had it all. It was brilliant. The champ survived. I'm Thunderstruck was charging late. Of course, the International was there. It was just a magnificent race, wasn't it?
Yeah, fantastic contest. I mean, we can look at this from so many different angles. Animo has been the dominant force throughout the Spring Carnival, and he deserves to take probably the biggest weight for age, the most important weight for age race we have. Terrific effort, great ride, J-Mac. Brilliant training performance by James Cummings and the Godolphin team. I'm Thunderstruck, enormous. I keep saying to you, Matty, I couldn't see him running out a strong 2,000 metres. He probably ran the strongest 2,000 metres, so that one turned it on its head a little bit. El Bodegon, the international, he was terrific. He was under pressure a long way from home. He kept fighting. And all the other runners, I mean, Zaki was terrific also from a non-speed performance, hanging on for 4th. So many good runs. More than likely, Adam, we're going to see these horses progress to the 2,000 metres of the Champions Stakes at Flemington in a couple of weeks' time. So it just continues what has been a great spring for these middle distance weight for age stars.
Yeah, and Shane, you talked about the stories from it. I guess the other one was El Bodegon. I know we were both watching that very closely for different reasons there, and it started to come. But we mentioned going into the last podcast as well that if it ran well, that backed up Deauville Legend. So that's another way we can go that the Melbourne Cup favourite now does look even better considering the way that it's been able to beat El Bodegon in the past.
Yeah, I reckon that's the thing I took out of it. I actually did listen last week, Shano, and I did go and have a little bit of a look at Deauville Legend after you mentioned it, purely and simply because of that. and then it backed it up with a sensational run with El Bodigan in the Cox Plate. So I'm with you, mate. I'm all over it, and I suppose the other horse, and we're going to talk about the Melbourne Cup a little bit more in depth, but Lofts hit out, of course, Tuesday at Breakfast with the Stars at Flemington, looked enormous as well. J-Mac, by all accounts, really give that horse a solid little hit out, and it looked like it responded.
Yeah, talk about James McDonald. What a spring carnival. Old Moneybags McDonald. No, I mean, it's extraordinary. He's won pretty much every big race there is, and there's more to come. But isn't he in the zone, Adam? I mean, you know what goes into being an elite level jockey. You've got great relationships with many of the top ranked jockeys throughout Australia. For him to maintain this level of utter dominance, but a consistent level of utter dominance, it's quite remarkable to watch.
Well, it's scary just where he's going to be as well. I mean, we think of Damien Oliver and the feats that he's achieved already, and you look at James McDonald, who's already won as many Group 1s as he's had at 30-odd years of age. It's scary to think that if he wants to ride for another 10, 15 years, what he's going to do with what we've seen he can do in a calendar season already. So he's an absolute pleasure to watch. You love the way he puts his horses into the race, the way he analyses it all and performs. And there's going to be plenty more Group 1s coming for James McDonald there. And I love the bit of banter with Zachy Purton, just telling him, well, if you want to earn some real money, come over here and we'll make a race of it as well. I think he's earning enough. I think he's okay at the moment.
Oh, he's travelling on beautifully. And as I said before, it's not over yet. He's still got another couple of big weeks ahead of him, that is for sure. Let's have a look, boys. This weekend, it is sensational. The best day of the year for mine, Derby Day. I'm heading down, looking forward to it. The weather doesn't look too bad. I did speak to Liam O'Keefe earlier, and there's a little bit of rain around, a little cold snap they're saying that's going to hit Melbourne Cup Day. So that's going to be interesting. A polar blast, they're calling it, boys. I don't know whether you're all over that, but that's what they reckon is going to happen on Tuesday. But all in all, I think it's going to be definitely in the soft range. The Victoria Derby, of course, race number 7 at 4:20. And the favourite, Berkeley Square, at $3.50 from the Dan A. Sullivan stable. Sharp and Smart at $3.60. Of course, on the back up as well. Mr. Maestro at $5.50 was enormous at track work during the week. Pericles at $7.50. Miramasa at $15. For to Sant at $18. Let's Roll the Dice at $26. And Manzois at $26. I'm going to start with you, Shane. What's your thoughts on the Derby field this year?
Yeah, look, I think it's a really evenly matched Derby field. We've got some really promising types, but it's always a challenge when we're seeing horses get to this distance range quite often for the first time in their career. They're still young horses. I mean, some of them technically are only just turning 3, even though the season's been going for the best part of 3.5, 4 months. So it's a test. It's one of the toughest tests I think there can be. And this year, we've got some really strong form lines converging. We've got the really good 3-year-old form out of Sydney, led by Sharp and Smart, who won the Group 1 Champion Stakes last week. We've got the Caulfield Guineas and Vars form with Berkeley Square coming through. And both horses, I think, have now been found in the market. I mean, Sharp and Smart, Berkeley Square, a little between them at the top of the order, just over $3 for both of them. But I think the form lines out of those races are the way to go. I'm just switching slightly and looking for a bit more value than what's currently available. Both have drawn well, Sharp and Smart and Berkeley Square. If you like them, you're going to get a great run for your money. I just don't like them at the price. I'm switching to Pericles as my best in the race. A very lightly raced prospect forward, James Cummings and Godolphin. Champion jockey out of Europe, William Buick's coming down to take the ride. He's drawn well in gate number 6. I think he'll get every chance to be on speed, and he will, I think, stay the trip. I know from a pedigree perspective, you might have a little bit of a question mark, but he gives me every indication that he's going to stick out the trip. And at, around that sort of $8 quote, give or take, as the market keeps shifting, I think Pericles each way is my best. And my value bet is coming through the race in Sydney, the Champion Stakes, and that's Manzois, currently at $31. I think you'll give her a big price for him. Chris Waller, Mickey D, his run in the Champion Stakes last week was enormous. He was right at the back of the field, but he was the one horse in the race that was actually making solid ground over the concluding stages, and I think he'll stay every step of the Derby trip. So just at the value, I'm steering away from the favourites. If you like the favourites, you're going to get a great run for your money. But for mine, I'm happy to play a bit of value with Pericles on top, Manzois as the value.
What about you, Ads?
Nice, Shano. Yeah, look, I'm going to stay with Berkeley Square. Obviously, threw it out on Saturday. I'm not a huge fan of the backup, but I just like the way this horse has been going about it. I wanted to get out to 2,000 metres. It now draws a gate here for the Derby. It has Craig Williams in the saddle, and I'm probably going for, we talk about the stories, I'm probably going for that fairy tale story for Dan O'Sullivan as well. I'll be cheering for that. But this horse has lost no admirers, winning 4 from 6, can handle all the conditions, ran the second fast. 200 to the finish at last start as well. So ticking all of the boxes for me. And I think the horse that beat Virtuous Circle is a very, very good horse. So I think it has full merit that run. When looking at the value, I was going to actually go Manzoy. So Shane and I haven't missed anything there with that run. I thought it was really good. That last 200 metres I thought was very impressive. But one at another price I thought could run really well was Let's Roll the Dice. It's a 3-year-old colt by Done Deal. Benny Mellum takes the ride. Love the way it went through the line last time over the 2,200 metres with Blake Shin in the saddle at Geelong. Thought that was a good performance. Start before that was only beaten 3 lengths by Tijuana. It's got those really good form lines going through, shown a bit last preparation as well. And I just think from the draw with Ben Mellum in the saddle, it's one at a nice little price that could run you a race as well.
It's going to be an absolute ripping race, that is for sure. I'm a little bit like you boys. The horses on that back coming through, and it was softish, it was a heavyish kind of track at the Valley on Saturday too, but I'm super keen on Berkeley Square, and I'd love to see it win for Dan O'Sullivan. He's one of the true gentlemen of the sport. He's a ripper, and it'd be just a great story, and I reckon its form is as good as any, and I reckon it's going to be very, very hard to beat. What about the Coolmore Stud Stakes, boys? All thanks to Palmer Bet. In Secret is our favourite at $3.90. Jackano at $6, Cool and Gatter at $7, Buenos Noches at $8.50, Grand Impact at $9, Economics at $12, Best of Bordeaux at $18, and Serge Dan at $18. And it takes me back to Merchant Navy winning this race. That was one of the biggest and best wins I reckon I've ever seen by a horse down the straight at Flemington. And I just reckon, boys, I'm going to start with you, Ab, but I reckon Jackano is going to do something very, very similar on the weekend.
Look, that's the way I'm going, but I'm really excited by this field too. I think when you look at Jackano and Best of Bordeaux, you look at Buenos Noches, Grand Impact, the way that it had been going as well, and then you throw in Cool and Gatter and In Secret, you just have a serious field in front of you. But I'm happy to go with Jackano again. Look, it was narrowly beaten by In Secret 2 starts ago, but that was on a good 4 over 1,400. I think coming back to 12 probably suits Jackano more. I think the run last time behind Giga Kick, only beaten that 1.6 lengths. We know that's full of merit. Second fastest last 200 metres of the race, ticked all the boxes there. And I think just down the straight, we'll see this horse be so suited and be the one that is flashing home late and will be too good for them. And my value runner is the one straight underneath it, Best of Bordeaux. I don't think this horse has done anything wrong so far. We saw it in the Manicato, beaten 5 lengths by Bella Nipotina. That's serious form. You go back 3 starts ago, it was only beaten 1.8 lengths by In Secret in that race. That was over the 1,200 on a good 4. I actually think Best of Bordeaux will be more suited on the rain-affected ground and compared to In Secret as well. So I think at a nice price, it's one that can definitely give you a good side. And I did note as well that Benny Mellum's riding, and he did ride Grand Impact for the last 2 victories. So I think Ben's clearly got a good opinion of this horse. He rode it to victory 2 starts ago and suggesting that he's going this way as well. So Jackano the win for me, but Best of Bordeaux the value bet in the race.
Shano?
Yeah, a bit of a head scratcher for mine. For a couple of reasons. Terrific field to begin with. I think an outstanding sprint race. Really looking forward to it. I just can't work out the market. In Secret, $3.90 favourite. When you're getting $6 Jackano, $7 Cool and Gatter. I think both those two, the last two that I mentioned there, are the value bets in the race. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to steer away from In Secret, even though she's a terrific filly. I just think at the price, she's tight. I assumed Jackano was going to be the favourite for this race, so I'm really happy to see that.
And going back to 1,200, isn't it, Shane? Like, I just think that horse screams 1,400 to a mile.
Yeah. So I think, just with the way the market is for us now trying to find a bit of value, I think Jackano at $6, worthy of the bet, outstanding in the Everest, won the Golden Rose. When he beat In Secret, you can't knock his form. He's going to be back in the field. He's going to be one of those sprinters really charging late in the piece. But I think if you want to take a good each-way bet on him at around that $6 quote, you're going to get a great, great sight. He'll be right in the thick of things. And look, I've been with Cool and Gatter through the campaign. She won the Moya terrifically well. I thought she was going to win the Manicato last week, and then she was a late scratching. So there's nothing wrong with her form lines, and you're getting $7 about her. Her record at 1,200 metres is actually rock solid. The only time she's beaten at the trip was in the Golden Slipper. I just think at the price, they're the two that I'm most keen on. So Jacquinot and Coolangatta, I'll put them down as both sort of equal best, so to speak, just because I think the price is wrong. I think one of those two should be favourite, not in secret.
I'm with you. Absolutely couldn't agree more, boys. Hey, Empire Rose Stakes, of course, this weekend too at Flemington, and the Palmer Bet Market has Le Creek at $2.90, hinged at $6, drawn to get an absolute cracking little suck run. She's Lickety split at $8, Nimmerly at $10, Fangirl $14, Ice Bath at $15, Kiss on All Four Cheeks, one of my faves, at $19, and Palasapan at $19 as well. Now, interesting to note, boys, the barriers, all the kind of favoured runners drew ordinary, but as we are recording, they are talking about a possible redraw with the barrier draw. So I don't really know what to say, and in saying that, I think it's going to be very hard to tip a winner, but let's have a crack, Shane.
Yeah, it's one of those weird instances in racing when human error can get involved and cause a problem. We had a bit of human error where one of the marbles for the barriers was left out of the left out. So look, let's put barriers aside.
How does that happen in modern times, Shane? Let
me just quickly. Let me hijack this for a quick second. When I first started in my media career, and I was hosting the Cox Plate barrier draw back in 2010. And in those days, it wasn't actually a television broadcast. It was done on the radio. So I'm hosting my radio show live. Terry Bailey, the chief stewards, put the marbles in the barrel to start turning. He hadn't actually locked the latch. The first spin, all the marbles, all the balls have gone flying across the dining room live on radio, which doing a barrier draw on radio is not always the most riveting thing to begin with, but then trying to describe the marbles sort of floating across the floor and seeing the stewards chase them. Anyway, that aside, the Empire Rose, a great contest. Again, a bit of a head scratcher here. I'm going to go with the Waller runners. Waller's got an amazing record in these Group 1s. He just knows how to target the race. Get his horses bang on, peak form when it matters. And he's got a couple of really good prospects in this race. So I'm putting my best on the race as Hinged, who's coming through what I thought was a terrific effort when third in the Epsom, wasn't beaten too far behind the dead heaters in Top Ranked and Ellsberg. I quite liked her on that occasion. She hasn't run since. I think with Brett Preble in the saddle, she's going to get every conceivable hope. And I'm happy to be with her as my top rater in the race. We're currently getting $6 with Palmer Bet. I think that's a good price for her. And I'm putting down my value in the race, the stablemate. Johnny Allen's taking the ride on Fangirl. Now, she is, I think, one that's really going to improve, particularly if we get a drier surface here. Her most recent run was terrific. She was really hitting the line strongly on that occasion. So I think back on firmer ground, she's going to be a good chance. And you're getting about $14 for Fangirl. So I think Waller's going to win the race. I've got Hinged on top, my best, with the value bet being Fangirl.
Beautiful. Adzi?
All right, well, I'm taking on Chris Waller, but a bit like the other race, I just don't think the favourite should be as short as it is here. I know it's got J-Mac in the saddle, but I thought way too short. And I actually, when I did my prices, had it Hinged as the favourite. I'm not tipping it, but that's the horse I had as the favourite. The one I'm going with, She's Lickety Split. I love the 49 kilos, barrier 6, Dean Holland. Love what this horse has been able to do. Should be able to race on speed. Has shown a really good turn of foot in the races as well. I know the team has just been setting this horse for the races. They're happy the way it's been going through them. And yeah, I'm quite keen on She's Lickety Split. I think it'll give you a really good sight in the Empire Rose. And the value bet that I'm going with, Matt, you sort of alluded to, is Kiss on All Four Cheeks. I think this horse is sort of forgotten. Its last 2 starts at Flemington have actually been for victories. It really loves this track. 4 starts ago, it was only 2 lengths behind Chain of Lighting. We'll be talking about that horse in the Golden Eagle. It's been placed in Group 1 Railway and also the Kingston behind some pretty good Cerise and White runners as well. So I think at that sort of 20-1 quote, I think Kiss on All Four Cheeks is probably the forgotten horse in the race, but I'll be cheering on the lightweight there with Dean Holland flashing down the middle of the track.
Yeah, it'd be great to see Dino salute in a race like this too. He puts in the hard yards, and opportunities are coming his way, which is really great to see. I just reckon Kiss on All Four Cheeks, probably the firmer the better. Ads, I reckon. So there's just a little bit of rain around, and I think the track will be will be soft on Saturday, but might be just against. But we might just get a better price on
exactly.
Raider. Hey, let's turn our attention now up to Rose Hill Saturday. The Golden Eagle, $5 million. Light infantry, all thanks to Palmerbet, is our favourite. Interesting runner, of course, on the Kiramar David Eustace team. Of course, Colin McKenna, Silks, and there is a little bit of a spruik on this horse. Next year's Cox Plate is the whisper. Chain of Lightning at $8. I wish I win at $8. Well at $13. Been a bit of talk about that during the week in the Congo at $13. Hinged, well, obviously at $15 if it decides to go that way. Fangirl $15 and Valana at $15 as well. I must admit, my ears pricked up on Friday night when Jace Richardson was interviewing Jamie Carr, and she said she's heading up to Sydney on Derby weekend in Melbourne, where I reckon she would have had a cracking book of rides. And I must admit, I've taken a couple of horses, and I have got Chain of Lightning going for a little quid, you blokes. So that's the way I'm heading. What about you, Adam McGrath?
Well, as we said, kiss on all four cheeks form with Chain of Lightning there. Look, my ears pricked up as well when I heard that she was going, but I actually really was hoping she was going to ride I Wish I Win. I was hoping she was going to be on that and Luke Nolan was going to be on Chain of Lightning. Now, it hasn't worked that way, and that's probably almost changed my decision. I do think Chain of Lightning is just going to get the absolute dream run in heaven. Jamie Carr's going to be sitting there, and if the horse is good enough, it should be winning the race. But Lights Infantry for me is the way I'll be going. I like the international form and been seeing a fair bit of it over here as well in LA when I've been doing those late nights. So I think it'll give you a really good sight in the race. I do like the jockey booking as well with Jamie Spencer taking that. I think there's a lot of positives to be looking at with this runner. And the value, and again, I think the forgotten horse will be Gypsy Goddess, the Oaks winner. I think, they stretched out to that trip just trying to get that Group 1 win for David Van Dyke and also William Pike. Freshened up. The trial was good. Back to this type of a trip, the 1,500 metres. If there is, it's going to be a drying track, but handles all conditions well. And I think finally from a nice draw as well, this horse will give you a really good run. So I'll be going with Light Infantry to win. Kieran Maher, Dave Eustace, just trying to continue on their ways. And yeah, Gypsy Goddess add a little bit of value.
Shane.
Yeah, I think Adam makes a really, really good case there for Gypsy Goddess at a massive price. Fresh into this, she's a proven top-class mare. And if you like her, I think she's huge overs. I can actually see a bit of money coming for her coming into the race. However, I'm pretty keen on the international horses here. I've got Light Infantry clearly on top. Record in his limited career thus far has been fantastic. The only time you could probably say he didn't perform anywhere near his best was in the Group 1 2,000 Guineas at Newmarket at the start of the season. He's then gone out to be placed in 2 Group 1 contests in terrific style. I think if he's arrived in Australia anywhere near his best, he's clearly the horse to beat. So you're currently getting, as the favourite in the race at around that $4 quote. I actually think he's worthy of a gamble. Jamie Spencer will probably have him back off speed and looking to present him late in the piece. He's got a really lovely turn of acceleration on him, and he's got oodles of class. Like, he's a very, very good horse. So, Matty, if you're thinking of him as a prospect for the Cox Plate in 12 months' time, he's the type of horse that you could go on and see him do that. So I've got Light Infantry clearly on top, and I'm putting Well as the value bet in the race. Currently at around, I think he's big price for it. Just trying to see what $13 with Palmerbet at the moment. Yep. Frankie Dettori coming out for the ride for Chris Waller. He hasn't raced since finishing at midfield in the Prix de Jockey Club, which is the French Derby. We saw El Bodegon run second in that race. He's come out and run really well in the Cox Plate. But he's another prospect that I think is only going to get better the longer he's in Australia. I think Waller will have a lot of fun with this horse. So the two I'm keen on for the big race, Golden Eagle, $10 million in prize? I mean, it's a staggering amount.
10 mil. I said 5 mil. That's 10 mil. That's unbelievable.
It's absurd.
But Light Infantry on top, Wellmel as the value bet for Frankie Dettori.
And I do know that Colin and Janice McKenna are heading up there for the weekend, so that's a good sight too, a good little lead-in, I reckon, with Light Infantry. Hey, let's move along to the Nature Strip Stakes. Lost and Running, all thanks to Palmerbet. He's our favourite at $2.80. Marzu at $4.50. Private Eye at $4.50. Eduardo at $8. Masked Crusader at $9. Rocketing By at $15. Waihara Falls at $17, and we own a Smart One at $17. What are your thoughts, Shane?
Yeah, can't wait for this one. We've got
it's almost like a competitive race, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic race. I mean, you can't knock this one. And again, $3 million in prize money on offer. All the big guns are there. Private Eye, who was terrific in the Everest. Eduardo, again, who, battled away, even though he's disappointing in the Everest. But if he comes back to his best, he's going to be right in the thick of things. Mizzou was also great in the Everest. The horse I'm putting on top, though, is the favourite. I'm a little concerned where his price is at the moment at around that $2.80. He's a little bit tighter than I was hoping to get. But I think Lost and Running is the one to beat. He missed the Everest with that little niggle, but he's proven that he was over that with a really impressive trial recently. Huey Bowman in the saddle. He's drawn well barrier number 5, so we can pretty much position him wherever he wants. So I think Lost and Running is the horse to beat. I was hoping, though, to get $3 or bigger. So he's a little bit under that at the moment. Let's hope our friends at Palmerbet can just roll him out. But the value bet for mine in the race is Masked Crusader. Now, look, he was a bit of a flop in the Everest. Take his form through that prior to it. Bang on target. Now, let's go back to the Everest. Though he was hopeless out of the barriers. He lost pretty much every chance that he could have in the race. But he still whacked away over the concluding stages. I think if he can begin better with Tommy Berry in the saddle, not settle so far back. He's a horse that tends to be in the back half of the field. But, I mean, the Everest was ridiculous. He missed the start by, a couple of lengths. I think if he can begin, you're currently getting that sort of mark of around, $9. I think that's a really good each-way bet for Masked Crusader. So I've got Lost and Running on top as my best, hoping for a little bit bigger than the $2.80. Masked Crusader, a great each-way chance as a value bet, currently at $9.
Ads?
Exact same too for me. I was out on course for the race out there. Obviously, when Lost and Running got scratched that morning, and that morning I'd had a bet on it, and I'd had a bet on Masked Crusader as the track was drying. And as Shane said, I'm just going to rule out that day out of my head and go now. Lost and Running's back. Showed the trial was good, so I think it's the horse to beat. And I thought it was the only one on the day that could beat Nature Strip. And the other one that I expect to be flashing home, I think the jockey change is actually a key, and it's not often I'll say that with William Pike, but he just hasn't quite seemed to get on with Masked Crusader of late. I think Tommy Berry jumping back on the saddle, again, drying track the key, it'll be flashing home late. So they are my two bets, and Palmer bet, let's just wind it out to $3.50. Let's be a little bit more generous.
I'm sure the boys can do something for you too. Hey, listen, Rosehill Gold Cup, of course, and the Palmer bet market here sees Quality Time at $4.40. Bosti Argent at $6. Honey Creeper at $6. Stockman at $7. Star of India at $10. Polygrade $13. Pinarello at $14. And Yonkers at $17. Pretty open field. Adam McGrath, will go back to you.
Very open field. I'm going to go with Honey Creeper here. It's a horse that I've always had a lot of time for. Again, I was out there on course for its last start. I thought it was brilliant the way it attacked the line, screaming for 2,000 metres, has a lot of class. And I do just think it's going to get a really nice run there as well, despite the draw, but I just think it's got the class and it can be the one really flashing home and being very hard to beat there from barrier 15 with just the 52 kilos. And the value one, I'll be going with Yonkers, Chris Waller, and also Frankie Dettori. Good run at Caulfield last time over the 2,000 metres on a soft 7. I think prefers a drying track as well. And this is a horse that we were watching run some very good races over the last year or so. So I think at a biggish price, I think it's about $17 with Palmer bet. That'll be the value bet for me there at cheering Frankie home.
What about you, Shane?
Yeah, I'm with Adam as the value bet Yonkers. I'll come to that shortly, but I'm finding it almost impossible to tip against my old mate Stockman here. I love the way that he's been progressing through this campaign. I think I said in one of our earlier podcasts, his first up run in the Winx Stakes was one of the best second last finishes I've ever seen. It just showed that he was on target to do something pretty special. And each time he stepped through his runs from the Chelmsford to the Kingston Town to the Metropolitan, he was just really solid all the way through. And then we saw that with a fairly dominant display when winning the St. Ledger last start against a similar standard field. So even though he's at the top of the weights here, Stockman, I think he really is the way to go. And I think at $7, just a fantastic each way bet. He's genuine. He stays all day. And you're always going to get a great run for your money. So Stockman on top is my best for the Rosehill Gold Cup. The value bet, I'm with Adam, Yonkers. I think the drying ground is going to be key to this horse. Form lines through the campaign have been very good, particularly when finishing runner-up in the Coonji last start behind Gunstock, gave a bit of weight away to Gunstock. The run before that in the Hill Stakes was solid behind Cascadian. And is rock hard fit after not only having 3 runs through the campaign off the back of what was a pretty solid winter campaign. with some really nice performances, including winning a Shamans at Eagle Farm and running third in the Q22, the big weight for age contest. So Yonkers, to me, just massive overs at that $17 quote. I think if you want to have a nice each way option, that's the way to go. But I'm happy to have Stockman on top as my best.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit of value. Pinarello, I reckon. Last chance for mine, but I just like what it does, and I like the horse, and I reckon it's over the odds. Hey, what about other winners throughout Rosehill or Flemington or even across to Ascot, boys? What do you got for us?
I'll start. I like As Time Goes By running in the Wakeful Stakes. I thought the run last start was better than what it probably reads on paper. That was in the Manifold Stakes at Group 2 level over 1,600 metres, drawn the inside barrier. Ben Melamon for Anthony and Sam Friedman. So that's race 4 at Flemington on Saturday, the Wakeful Stakes. You're going to get sort of around that $4.60, hopefully out to about $5 mark for it. But I think a really good chance to win that and then progress through to the Oaks on Thursday next week. So that's the one I'm keen on in the other races on the card.
What about you, Ads?
Yeah, nothing out west yet, sadly. Just at the time of recording, it's a little bit too soon to see the fields and prices there. But I like race 9, number 2 at Flemington, the Furphy Sprint Asfura. This is a serious horse, the way that it's been going. 5 wins from 7 starts now. And that last victory at Caulfield just said, follow me, I'm going to be one for the future. So $3 at the moment available. That's the way I'll be finishing the day there at Flemington.
Yeah, I worked a couple of early meetings, and Henry Dwyer was there, both those wins, and he did say to me at the time, he said, this is a serious horse, and it absolutely lived up to it, and it was a brilliant win last start. I'm going to go with one from old Uncle Lindsay's stable, boys. Surprise, surprise. But race number 3, Triple Missile, second up, was good first up. Froggy knew it's about $6 down the straight. It's drawn barrier 12, but I reckon that's possibly where you'll want to be anyway. It is a get-back horse. If it sees any clear daylight, I reckon it'll be storming down over the top of the Mount Wide. And if they can make a bit of ground and they're doing that, then I reckon Triple Missile is going to be a really good bet.
Good horse.
It is a good horse.
Like it.
Hey, listen, boys, wonderful weekend of racing, of course. Rosehill, the Golden Eagle, Derby at Melbourne. It is seriously just a magnificent day. And then, of course, we head into the Melbourne Cup, the Oaks, and Stakes Day the following week. The next 10 days are going to be absolutely sensational. I look forward to catching up and talking more with both you gents, and good luck and happy punting. And as we always say, gamble responsibly from the boys at Palmer Bet. Download the app, get involved. Boys, great to talk as always.
See you soon.
Thanks, guys.